So if you're running a restaurant and using Toast's POS system, you've probably felt that squeeze. The rising fees, those restrictive contracts. Well, in this explainer, we are going to break down the top alternatives out there right now to help you find a system that actually fuels your growth instead of holding you back.
Okay, let's kick things off with a really critical question. That system at the very heart of your business. Is it actually a tool that's helping you, or does it feel more like a trap you just can't get out of? Yeah, if you're on Toast, this probably sounds all too familiar, right? Monthly fees that just seem to creep up, surprise charges you weren't expecting on your bill, and these long-term contracts that just feel impossible. And it's that exact mix that has so many restaurant owners saying, okay, I need a change. And look, it's clear you're not alone in feeling this way. Just listen to this quote from the folks at Sweet Cream after they made a switch. It just perfectly captures that feeling of relief, That moment when you finally move to a system that's more transparent and flexible.
All right, so let's dive into our first group of alternatives. These are for all of you owners out there who are just done with the complicated stuff, done with the long-term commitments. You just want something straightforward with clear pricing and zero long contracts. Okay, first on the list is Butter POS. And honestly, it feels like it was designed to be the direct opposite of Toast's biggest headaches. So what's the big difference? Well, instead of those long locked-in contracts, you get total contract-free freedom. And instead of surprise fees, you get transparent pricing. It's really all about giving the control back to you, the owner. All right, another huge player here is, of course, Square. It's super popular and for good reason, especially if you're just starting out or running a smaller spot. Why? Because the basic POS software has no monthly fee. You just pay for processing. It's a really simple pay-as-you-go setup that's super attractive when you're trying to keep those monthly costs down. So when you put them side by side like this, you can really see the choice you're making. On one hand, you've got Butter POS, which is really built for restaurants that want those specific features, but also demand total transparency. On the other hand, you've got Square, which is kind of the classic choice for a startup that needs something super user-friendly and budget-conscious right from the get-go. But this brings up a really, really important point. You've got to think about the future. Square is awesome for getting off the ground, no doubt. But what happens when you get really busy? A high-volume spot might start to feel, well, a little boxed in by its features. It's that classic dilemma, right? Do you go for simplicity now, or do you plan for scalability down the road? All right, let's move on to the heavy hitters. I'm talking about the systems that were designed from the ground up for the pure, beautiful chaos of a busy restaurant. These aren't some generic POS that they just slapped some restaurant features onto. Nope. These were built for food service from day one. Touch Bistro is a perfect example of this. It's an iPad system, and it really gets into the nitty-gritty of service. I mean, we're talking about deep, detailed features for table management, menu engineering, figuring out what's actually making you money, and even tracking how your servers are doing. These are the kinds of tools that generic system just won't have. Oh, and a huge plus, a reliable offline mode, because we all know what happens when the internet dies in the middle of a dinner rush. Then you've got SkyTab, and they come in with a very, very interesting offer. Zero software fees. You just pay for the payment processing. And, this is a big one, they have 24/7 live support. That is a direct shot at Toast's whole submit a ticket and wait system, which can be so frustrating. Seriously, when things go sideways during service, you need to talk to a person, not get a ticket number. So this really shows two totally different ways of thinking. With Touch Bistro, you're really investing in this deep, feature-packed world built around the iPad. With SkyTab, you're going for a super cost-effective model where the number one priority is amazing, always-on support. So the question for you is, what do you need more? Deep features or top-notch service and lower costs? Okay, on to our last category, the customizable and scalable options. These are for those of you who don't want something that's just one size fits all. You need a system that you can really shape to fit your unique needs, and, this is key, that can grow right along with you. Clover is all about one thing: freedom. Its superpower is its app marketplace. You need better employee scheduling? There's an app for that. You want a super cool, unique loyalty program? Yep, there's an app for that too. It is the polar opposite of Toast's locked-in ecosystem. It gives you the power to literally build the exact POS you need. But here's the catch with all that flexibility. It means you've got a little homework to do. Clover isn't exactly plug and play like Square might be. You have to be willing to spend some time up front, digging through that app market and getting everything set up just right.
Okay, now, if your big picture plan involves multiple locations or you've got a really complex menu, then Lightspeed is positioned as the ultimate tool for you. Its whole reputation is built on these powerful back-end features, especially its inventory management, which is incredibly detailed. It lets you track every single ingredient and food costs with pinpoint accuracy.
So when you look at these two, the decision really boils down to one question. Do you need that front-end flexibility that you get with Clover's App Store, or do you need that powerful back-end data-heavy control that Lightspeed gives you to scale your business, maybe across multiple spots? And that's a super important thing to think about. Look, for a brand new little cafe with one location, Lightspeed might be total overkill. But if you're serious about expanding, choosing a beast of a system like this right from the beginning could save you a massive headache later on. No one wants to switch systems when they're already busy. Okay, wow. So we've looked at 6 really solid alternatives, and they all have their own strengths. That's a lot to take in, I know. So how in the world do you sort through all this and actually pick the one that is perfect for your restaurant? Well, it really comes down to a simple 3-step process. First things first, you have to figure out what you absolutely need. What are your non-negotiables? Then you narrow down your list to your top contenders and really compare them, feature for feature, price for price. And finally, and you cannot skip this step, you have to book some demos. You need to get your hands on the software and see how it actually feels to use it before you sign anything. You know, at the end of the day, this is all about taking back control. It's about finding a system that works for you, not one that's draining your bank account or holding you back. Whether it's the contract-free simplicity of Butter or the massive scaling power of Lightspeed, you have some fantastic options out there. The real goal here is to find a partner, not just a POS system, but a partner that is genuinely there to help your restaurant succeed and thrive.